¿Qué onda, primos?
Primas.
Y primes.
Welcome to my
Primos.
My Primos.
My
Primo
podcast. Welcome to the My Primos podcast.
My name is Fredie.
My name's Kevin Garcia.
My name is Elia Maria Madrid.
My name is John Avina.
This is Chikume, whenever I can make it.
My Primos podcast discusses all things fandom and pop culture,
From comic books,
Movies?
To whatever obsession we have this week.
but with a Latine
Malatine.
perspective. Remember, we're all primos,
We're all primes.
Primas.
Primos.
no matter what part of the world we're from. ¿Qué ondas, primos, primas, y primes? And welcome back to My Primos podcast. I'm your primo, Fredie. With me tonight is my primo and yours, Mr. Kevin Garcia.com. Say what's up, Kevin.
What's up, Kevin? How you doing? Wait, that's me. How am I doing?
It's you, of course. You know, self-serving. Of course, Kevin Garcia, everybody. You know, the man, the myth, the man that fills that need, that fills that hole. That's the man there, everybody. That's the primo. Primo
It's a
with
little bit
everything
further
we
each
need.
time. Wait, that doesn't sound good either, actually.
I mean, you push it further as far as you want to take it,
Nope,
Kevin.
I already retracted it. It's not. That doesn't sound.
You
know
can't.
what? Let's
You
just
can't
move on.
re-
Let's move
yeah,
on.
see?
Moving on.
See? There you go.
Well, I'm not the only one here. We have other people with us.
We do. We have Primos joining us today. We're going to talk about amazing book. I'm really excited to talk about this. And we have a returning guest that, you know what, I'm really excited because every time he comes on, we have a great time. And, of course, Primo talking about Mr. Henry Barajas. Say what's up, Henry, to all the Primos.
Hey, primos, primas, dias, nonos.
Nanas, Tinos,
Everybody,
Tinos, Ninos,
Nas,
and
yeah.
Nachos.
It's good to be back. I thank you so much for reaching out even when I was not feeling great. So thank you.
Well, honestly, thank you for coming on. Also, when you're not feeling great, because of course, we always want to have you here, Henry, because you're one of the greats who came on here before we were big and before you were big. It's more the second one, but we're glad you came, even though you're sick, man.
Thank you.
Well, Henry, you know what? You're not alone today. We have another guest with us, first-time visitor, first-time listener, viewer, watcher as well, I'm guessing. But Henry, why don't you introduce our guest that you have with us today?
Time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to introduce everybody to Rachel Merrill, who is one of my dearest friends and favorite people. We are currently working on Gilthorpe together. It's a Monday through Saturday daily newspaper strip about a high school athletics director who teaches and coaches every sport. Everybody loves him. And the co-creator and artist of Death to Pachuco, a new Top Cow and Image Comics series that's debuting on October 8th. Rachel, please say hello.
Hey,
Say hello.
everybody. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad
Actually,
you're here, Rachel.
I'm really glad we have you, though, because we've talked with Henry a few times about Gilthorpe,
Oh,
and
boy.
he's always talking about, the artist and his co-creator who he's working with, and finally get a face and a voice to the name. So
I
thank
hope
you
I
for
don't
being here.
disappoint.
Well, if you did, I wouldn't tell you.
That's good to know.
True. Well, Henry vouches for you, so you're good. You're a prima. You know what I mean? You come in, we have a good one. We have a good time. So Henry vouches for you. That goes a long way. But Henry and Rachel, I'm gonna start with Rachel because Henry, we've heard of you a lot. You talk, yeah, it's too much. It's too much. Rachel,
much.
so you came to promote your book, Death to Pachuco, along with your co-creator Henry Barajas.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the book and kind of maybe a quick pitch for the primos out there to know what this book is about?
Oh, gosh, this is what I leave to Henry. It's a historical fiction series that takes place during the Zoot Suit riots of 1943. A private investigator is tasked with helping get one of the teenagers who was swept up in the arrest, get her released from juvenile detention by trying to find the real killer of the Sleepy Lagoon murder.
Sleepy Lagoon murder. So,
Which is a real murder that really happened, along with, obviously, the Zoot Suit riots.
there we go.
I want to point out real quick, the Zoot Suit riots are a big part of Latino history and culture. One of those things that even people outside the community are aware of the term, even if they don't know why, and they just think it's a ska song from the 90s?
Cherry Poppin' Daddies, to be exact, not ska. Get it right. It was 90s
It's
swing.
swing,
Come on.
Swing revival.
Swing.
90s.
Come on,
Swing
man.
revival.
Thank you, Henry.
Sorry.
Thank you, Henry.
I
I
have
know
some
me and you
friends-
were always right there
I
with
have some
that.
ska friends that are going to be very upset at me for saying that. But my point is, you take that piece of history and then you mix it with basically detective noir, which I really love that concept of like the hard boiled detective, but with the heart that comes with, speaking from within the community. So that's why I really, really like the idea.
Yeah,
So
when he first pitched it to me, I just read the first 4 pages and said, I'm in. This is right up my alley.
it's perfect. I mean, I love the. I mean, we read the preview copy of the first issue, and I want to just kind of. I mean, I'm in love with it, man. I dig it. I love the
Oh,
vibe. I
thank
love the
you.
energy. I love the artwork, and it really kind of plays to the tone because I love the grittiness to it. Because the story is it's meant to be gritty. Like the art has to match that
Yeah.
story, and the colors and the tones. Like I just love the whole energy of it, and it does feel like Kevin says, you get that noir vibe, but you're also getting that color because it's not just black and white. And so I really love the play on colors on that. And Rachel, like I'm vibing with your artwork, and I can look at I'm looking at the artwork, and I'm excited for. I pre-ordered off 4 issues already that I can get. I can pre-order from
Oh, wow.
the
Thank you
comic
so
shop.
much. I do want to just point out, I do not do the color. Ridge does the color. So all of the credit for the color should be going to him, not to me. I
Okay,
just do
perfect.
the interior art and the screen tones. Those are all me. But all color is his work.
Can I just point out, we're talking about like looking forward to it, being excited about it. It was on Kickstarter successfully, and I backed it. My fiance backed it as well, and I was
Thank
reading
you.
the preview copy. And you're welcome from her and me. I was reading the preview copy, and she just looks over my shoulder and is like, "Is that Henry's new book?" Like she immediately recognized the art. She immediately she hasn't even seen it yet, except for knowing that she was waiting for it to come in. So like, your fans know your stuff, both of you guys.
Great, yeah. No, I used to be criticized for that at art school, is that you could tell my work right away, and they weren't encouraged to. You were supposed to be able to plug into whatever they wanted to hire
The machine.
you as. Yeah. You were
I've said this
criticized
before.
for that, not being able to do that.
Exactly. My grandfather was a classical artist in his spare time, I guess, and I would show him my comic art that I was working on, and he'd be like, "Real life doesn't have outlines. Stop drawing outlines." And I was like, "All right."
Sounds like a painter.
Yeah,
There you go. There
exactly.
you go. Henry, can you talk about what kind of drove you to make the story happen? I mean, like we have a Sleepy Lagoon murder that was a real event that happened in Los Angeles that kind of also wrapped in with the Zoot Suit riots, of course, going hand in hand at the time of the war. And one of the lines that comes up in the book early on, and I want to toss it to you, wrapped in that question. It was not a good time to be Mexican. It was not a good time to be brown. It is.
A
I mean,
repeated line too.
yeah. And please take the floor, man. Like, tell us what brought this on and what got you to this point.
A year ago, I was writing maybe 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. I was writing a historical comic for the Department of Education for New York City about Dolores Huerta, and I was watching the Dolores Huerta documentary, and she talks about her brother in Stockton, dressed as a Pachuco, was beaten and harassed by cops, and that was something. Or she was beaten, and the cops didn't do anything about it, and that was something that really was a turning point for her to be a civil rights activist. And then that, I mean, whenever you research about a person or anything, you always have more questions than are answered. So I decided to go into a deep rabbit hole of that was the Zoot Suit riots that led me to an hour-long PBS documentary, which is like music to my ears. And I watched this amazing documentary, and I went down to the East LA County Library, and they had multiple source books that they had made themselves, binders of newspaper clippings, and I just sat there for like maybe 2 or 3 hours, and the whole story started to formulate in my head.
I want to ask. I appreciate, by the way, the rabbit hole thing. Writers, creators in general, it's so easy for us to fall down that rabbit hole because there's so much that just keeps the wheels turning. But I want to ask you, once you were looking at the real history of it and you're thinking, making this kind of noir historical fiction, why was it so important to have real events throughout the story? Why was it so important to have those real world historical events? as opposed to like what some other people might do, where they'll make like a fictional event that's similar and around the same time, but like you had the real stuff
Yeah.
there.
I think history, and that's why Rachel and I are so compatible to work together. Is that's what really kind of interests us. We did for the final version of the series change the names of the victims, but the circumstances are based on historical events. To answer, I really don't really have an answer to your question other than it's the same reason why a lot of noirs or a lot of stories, happen. And I just wanted to take something that was very LA, because LA loves LA, and I really wanted to do something for LA and celebrate it while kind of celebrating its, warts and all.
I feel like
But-
that's one of the aspects of noir that people
I wasn't
talk
finished,
about a lot.
so
It's Kevin Garcia for you. He
If
doesn't
I'm not
listen. He
interrupting,
waits
I'm
to
not mean.
talk.
I'm kidding. What was that, Kevin?
You were saying the LA warts and all.
Yeah. So at the time, well, you asked. I'm not the next answer to your question, Freddie. Is the line "Now's not a good time to be Mexican"? I was watching. I decided last year, or 2 years ago, I don't remember, that I needed to fine tune my craft as a writer. So I really dived into what how do you do that. So one of the things I did was buy Alan Moore's BBC Masterclass, and it really like transformed a lot of the way I do my comics and a lot of how I write now. But he said something that really stuck with me. It was like, what is the first line of your book? What is the first line that you want people to read and get a sense of? And what I wanted was that I wanted that to be the first line of the protagonist, how you're introduced to him. And also the trick of writing something is you want it to feel like you could read it now and it means something now. And Rachel, I'm sure you're tired of getting this question at this point of like, did you intend, like, how did you feel about writing this while like people were getting deported? And it's not like art happens that quickly. Like, we've started working on this last year, and as you're going to read it, you very much see news pertaining to people being deported, people being terrorized, marginalized communities. But the case that was not the case. It was until like we weren't like, oh yeah, 8 months from now, this is going to be a really good read. Like, the idea is to make it feel like it has a sense of urgency, but something that you can read at any point in time. And I hope, and that's what I always try to do with all my work. With La Voz de Mayo, we open with people being deported. With Helm Greycastle, we talk about colonialism and what it's like to have a sense of worth of yourself and to celebrate your culture. And with Death to Pachuco, it's very much a like, now's not a good time to be a Mexican, but it's also a beautiful time to be Mexican, to be Puerto Rican, to be gay, to be a woman, to be anything that is deemed inappropriate or illegal at this point.
No, I love that. And Rachel, and we talked about it off the air here, like we talked about consuming content. Your content was historical, like everything historical. Let's get my hands on it to be as accurate as possible. I mean, there is something to be said about those that know history, right? That they write what will happen at current times. Like, it's almost like clairvoyant in a way. But can you talk about how you went into the research to help co-write it?
Sure, yeah. So we had several conversations, and like I said, like Henry already said, we both seem to just be on the same wavelength. I'm really lucky in that I had a grandparent who was an avid photographer, and he was in his 20s in the 1940s. So we have thousands of photos from the 1940s of
Wow.
him, and later his girlfriend's wife's my grandmother. Just in the late 30s and early 90s, he was not drafted because he worked at Exxon, so he was deemed very important for a war effort. But it was just helpful to look at how ordinary people kind of carried themselves. And then there was also a really great book I got about this photographer, Mike Farmer, who was a portrait photographer from the 90s until the early 90s in, I believe, rural Alabama. And it's again like the same kind of thing of like working people. You know, they're like kind of a lot in their Sunday best, but I don't know. I just wanted to, as much as Hollywood is such a big influence on the series, I wanted to get something kind of humanizing and not just do like too costumey with the stuff. So one of
I was going to ask about the, you know, when you look at the design of it, right? The characters, the dress, the attire, you know, I see that there is a lot of care into the look, right? Into the fashion,
Oh, great. Thank
into
you.
that. And I loved it because you look at those, and me growing up in LA, I grew up there, and even us, we had a romanticism and a glorification of that time, but it was never really brought to attention that it wasn't a beautiful all roses time for the Latino in that time, because always, oh, we all love the oldies. We love las bombitas. You know, we love that, the garb, the speak, talking about your ramfla and all that, right? We love that vibe. But when you start looking into the history of it, you know, you forget that there's something scary behind there, you know, and I love the work you put into it and the care of the design, because I can see it and I immediately feel seen and I feel like I'm at home because I
Oh,
grew up
great. Thank you.
in LA.
Great. I really appreciate that. Yeah, one of the suits one of the girls wears is actually based off of a kind of a combo of like one of the suits from this photo series by Marcus Farmer and one of my grandmother's like Sunday best outfits. So
Wow.
that was just like, you know, I didn't want them to look like Hollywood royalty, and I also didn't want to do like Hollywood's interpretation of what working people look like either.
Can we touch on Hollywood a little bit? Because of like me, I and Kevin, me and you talked about this a couple seasons ago. We talked about Zoot Suit, 1981 Zoot Suit.
Yeah.
Edward James
That was the
Olmos,
first thing I watched
Reina.
after talking to Henry. I got that on Apple.
Love that film. I love what became of it. Like, you know, we talk about writing and the story. You know, like, you know, and the visuals, right? I mean, that play come alive, and the fact of what the Pachuco represented. And I still keep that in mind because, like we said, it's not a good time to be a Mexican. But then you look at those times, you're like, wow, you wanted to be a Mexican at that time too. Like you wanted to be in that crew. You wanted the camaraderie, the familia, la comunidad, because you saw that on screen, and you do see that in your book too. So I get excited because I do correlate those two things. It just comes right to mind when you said Hollywood.
Yeah, and I mean, even, you know, in the 1940s, a lot of Hollywood figures that were considered like, you know, celebrities are considered somewhat disreputable. They was because they hung out with non-white people. And then a lot of them also got blacklisted. But yeah, I mean, it was always there, you know. The studios tried to control what people found out about, you know, how Hollywood celebrities spent their time. But a lot of the ones that were harder to control or, you know, whatever, they tended to hang out with whoever they wanted to hang out with. And a lot of the times that involved things that were not a part of their squeaky white bread image. They were cool back then, too. They were cool to white people then, I guess is what I should say.
There you go.
I feel like whenever somebody shows compassion to people outside their group, you get the bigger, you know, Hollywood or corporations, or whatever, being like, nope, you shouldn't be doing that anymore.
You're disrupting the social hierarchy.
Exactly that.
Yeah,
But
one of the things
but
that we're going to print in the book is a pamphlet, like propaganda zine, basically, from these that was by the organization that was raising money and providing legal services for the 38th Street Gang. And Orson Welles wrote a very interesting introduction to it, basically recanting a conversation he had with a Mexican friend of his.
And the only way you can get it right is if you pre-order it, right, Henry?
Well, I mean, the idea is to fill the single issues with it, maybe, or to put it in the graphic novel. But it's just it's been so much fun to like go back and see what happened and really like put your fingers in and try to like mold something that is not as well known as like the Manson murderers or, you know, the Watts.
Pero se presta, right? Like the Sleepy Lagoon murder. Like, wow.
Yeah.
You can't make that shit up. How, like, wow. Like, that is the perfect fucking noir. Like, it's a chapter in LA, the LA Noir, the video game that I fucking was in love with like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Like, oh, it's, you know, like, it's like the Dahlia murders. Like, it's like, boom.
Yeah.
Like, it's that big of a deal, but yet it's tucked away, right? Like, it's just like this, like, tucked away corner. And even a lot of Latinos don't really know it. Let's be honest. They don't. They just kind of see
I didn't.
what they're talking. You know, you don't know until you start like poking around. But then I end up having a conversation years ago with a teacher of mine in film school. And he says there's the romanticization of the Latino, right? The Cholo culture. Every time, or even Black culture, right? There's always some kind of fetishization, even in Asian cultures here and there, like East Asian cultures. There's always something that the pop culture tries to get a hold of. I love that. Like you said yourself, LA, it's its own thing. LA loves LA. LA has its own vibe, its own energy, and you really embodied it in the story. And we're not trying to give you too much out here, Primo, because you need to go pre-order the book. You can do it. I've done it myself. I
Get
did
it
it.
now.
And I got
Get it. Make your local comic shop carry it too.
You
do
guys are
it
amazing
because
salesmen.
you can get the variant covers, by the way, which I got the colorful one with the guy in the yellow suit. I'm literally going through them, picking and choosing.
Oh,
And
cool. Yeah,
Awesome.
he's talking about the Ron Cecil Smith.
yes,
Yeah,
I mean,
that one's gorgeous.
it's beautiful, beautiful cover. And I'll show some images here on screen. The editor will go ahead and put those up. We have images of those to share so Primos can get enticed. But what I'm saying is, like, you have the ability to see these stories. I always talk about representation, talk about getting ourselves seen, having these conversations. Look at the current climate right now, right? People have those conversations. Man, it's scary to be Latino right now. It's scary to be anything brown.
Really, really is.
And
Yeah,
this
I mean,
really
it's
touches on
scary to
it.
be. Yeah, it's scary to be gay. It's scary to
Be anything.
It's going to be Canadian at this point. I've got a wedding coming up, and I've got some Canadian friends who are invited, but they're like,
Do we feel safe?
Well, I mean, on Canadian news, like they're not their regular news. They're all constantly 24/7 about the amount of Canadians who are getting detained.
Yeah,
Canadians.
I have family that won't go cross country to visit other family because they don't know what's going to happen when they go to an airport. Like they are legal residents, but that doesn't seem to matter. So it's just it's the world we live in.
And that's the thing. Like that's the beautiful thing is that it never mattered. Like even before the 1930s, the 1800s. I mean, there was there was people that were born and raised here.
Mm-hmm.
They were deported. This has been a thing, and that was why the line "Now's not a good time to be a Mexican." So you could say that and read that at any time. Yep. It doesn't matter when you read that. And
that's that phrase to me sticks out like that. That's your one day as a lion. Like that means a lot because it sticks out because like it matters in so many levels, man. So like that line hits, and that's why it just ingrained in me because you can say that now, and then you're like, shit, like damn, it just connects with everything going on. So honestly, it's como que like it's been planned out. Like fuck it had to come out right now. Like this book had to come out. Like what is it? Rage said like, well, the audience we wanted is now, not 20 years ago. Like the audience that is going to take your book that you and Rachel have co-written together and really look at it. This is the time for it to thrive. And Primos, that's what we need to do is support this type of work, right? Support our language because language is a huge thing. Our cultures, our vibes, our energy, our own pop culture that gets commercialized and sold back to us as Professor Latinx, likes to talk about. This is one of these stories where you can look at it and go like, damn, this is pure. I'm really pumped about it.
Thank you. It's I don't know. It's just like one of the most important things was having someone like Rachel involved, where you could see it as a noir, and that's I wanted it to be treated like a film noir, something that doesn't need to be dressed up in any other way. And it's like not fair when we can't have that autonomy and that permission to operate in these spaces. And I hope that people give it a chance despite how loud it is. I mean, on the back of the comic, we quote the Madam President. We did a quote from Roosevelt where she said, "We have a race problem" during the press conference while it was going on. So like in the back of every issue, there's going to be like a factual quote about what happened from real people to kind of explain that this was like hopefully give the gravity of what happened, and really try to give some context of like this is something you should know about.
I have a question, Rachel. We talked about when I asked you to tell about the story. The one thing that I really enjoyed was like Henry and you guys, it's just like you're so connected. Like you're just on the same wavelength because You never said it's a Latino noir story. It's a noir story. And that's the thing, like we talk about. I don't need you to tell me it's Latino sci-fi, Latino this, Latino that. Like the Latinos exist. We know it's not like we're just part
We're
of
not
the
a genre.
story. Thank you. That's what I'm getting at. We're not a genre.
We do call it Chicano noir.
Which,
But I mean,
by itself is reclaiming that word.
Yeah.
you're taking the word because that's the word that people kind of tend to like use the wrong way, or these Chicanos, right? Like they just twist it. But the fact that it is
even back then,
it's
it
not on
was
its
like
own.
the word Chicano was like a charged word, like
Yep.
Latinx is. It's like it's just like there's no matter what, there's always going to be some weird
Something to
feelings.
divide us and have something that's to be pointed at us.
No, reclaim it. But I'm saying, Rachel, that's why like, when you told it, it's like I love the fact that it was like it's a noir story, and I go, dope, that's cool, and that's the energy, right? Because like that's when I tell people, oh man, and when you tell me to hype something, I hype it because I'm just a fan. I said it. I
Oh,
tell
thank
people all the
you.
time, it's okay to be a fan and just look at somebody's work and go, damn, I
Oh,
love their
yeah.
work. Like this is cool. Let's
Never
promote
gets
the
old.
work. There you go. That's how we do it, Primos. We gotta help this thing take off. I'm excited. I mean, tell me, Henry, because I know when you ran the Kickstarter, was the plan to eventually get to this point where, hey, we're gonna make always in your head, I'm gonna make this thing 5 issues. We'll do a one shot, maybe a graphic novel if we're lucky. But what got you all the way to Top Cow and Image?
Well, I mean, it's not easy. Like I think I'm sure Rachel and y'all have seen Spike Lee talk about how difficult it is to make films and how it's not easy. I'm not saying I'm Spike Lee. I'm just saying that even someone that big has those issues of finding funding and getting money. And so originally I took this to Top Cow. I didn't hear back. Which is the nature of the business. Then I went elsewhere and I got no's, and I was like, okay, well, I'm doing it. And Rachel was brave enough to stand on the ledge and jump, and
I mean-
without a parachute. So
It's a great script. It was the best script any comic, or I've done some comics before, and outside of the own work I do, my own personal work, and it was just easily the best script. So it was like, yeah, I don't need to read anymore. I'm ready to go.
what's funny about that script is I worked on I worked on it for like 4 or 5 months. And and what made it better was originally David Lapham was attached to draw it, and he didn't want to do another Kickstarter, but Rachel was on the top of the list. Like she was literally on top of my list to
Such an honor to be
work
runner up
together,
to David
right?
Lapham.
But I mean, she and the only reason why she knows this is because she got the call for Gil Thorpe. So
Thanks to Henry.
So I was like, I'm going to work with this person, and because of the black, she's really good with inks, and it was just one of those things where she was brave enough to go and try to do something that had no support. We were doing a 1 issue. We basically wanted to establish the intellectual property to hopefully grow it into whatever it grows into. But it was always a comic first, but it's the most film inspired comic I've ever done.
And film ready.
I mean, and the things I hear about it being anything outside of a comic is that it would be too expensive to make because it's a period piece, some of the clothes, the sets, the cars.
I think it's bullshit because they can fucking spend millions of dollars on a dog chasing squirrels.
I know.
I'm just saying.
I'm going to be in the corner screaming, animated series.
Yeah.
I feel like the Spike Lee comparison though works because part of the issue with him is that he's got a proven track record, and yet he still has trouble funding movies, largely because I'll be blunt, a lot of Hollywood's like, well, you don't have white stars. They don't say it. That's what happens. And so when they're
But
saying
he does get white stars. Like Edward Norton was one of his.
No, he does, but they're not the main characters. They're in the cast. And
25th
so,
Hour, I think.
Black Klansman, they had a main character who was a.
But what I'm saying
white.
is that when you have with the Pachuco here, you have the idea of you would need to have, Latino actors. You would need to have largely Latino cast. Obviously, the bad guys are not, but still, I feel like sometimes.
Well, white people go watch it. Is that the question,
Exactly.
Kevin?
That's the question.
I'll
That's
say
the
it.
question that producers. That's questions that producers ask, right?
Well, I mean, and it's a very funny conversation I had with my manager at Comic-Con where the antagonist is white. The antagonist has to have a good part to do, like, and we hope that Handsome Branham, the most ridiculous name I've ever come up with,
That's hilarious.
is,
I feel like it's appropriately the 40s name though. I don't know why it just feels right.
I don't know where it just.
Tom
it was
Hardy's
just
going to
like-
read that script and weep about how he's too old to play the character.
It's a shame he's too old.
He's
'cause
definitely
he would
too
be-
old. If we've got a
He's,
Gen Z Tom Hardy, call us.
You can make him a cop.
I was gonna say,
That's
there's de-aging
involved.
technology. There's
Look,
de-aging
I
technology.
don't care who plays it. It could be, Clint Eastwood if he wants it. Like,
Fuck yeah, man. Make that guy
90-year-old
dust off that skeleton
young-
and bring him
Oh
out.
wait, I know who would be great. He would
Come
be.
dance.
He would be. He'd have to dye his hair, but he's the one who's always screaming in that awful HBO show.
Dennis Leary?
Euphoria. He's like
Oh.
7 feet tall, and he's always screaming
Yeah.
like slut and whore
Oh,
to the
yeah,
that guy.
students. He would be perfect. He'd be perfect. He can do an
Yeah,
American
so-
accent. He's got that kind of vacant look. Yeah, I think he would
it
be
wasn't
great.
like Nick Holt the reference,
Nicole.
or who?
I think.
Nicholas Holt.
Oh, Nicholas Holton's a great actor. Don't. Oh,
No,
that
I'm
was
not saying he's not a good actor. I'm just saying.
no. I
No.
love Nicole, but he's also too old. He's our age, so he's too old to play him.
But see, think about it. We're
Yeah, but he
arguing about
looks great.
one white role right now. I think that's the kind of the conversation. Like, where's that
The original-
one white
the
role that we
original-
can get?
Zane Phillips. That's who I.
Zane
based him.
Phillips. I don't think I know Zane Phillips.
Let me
That's
see.
who I
Zane
think.
Learn more
Phillips.
about the youth.
Editor,
Here's
look,
Zane.
put a
My
picture
brain
of
just-
Zane
my brain
Phillips
just
right in the
confuses
middle
me.
of this conversation, so everybody can know what we're talking about. And for our audio listeners, he's a very handsome, rugged. He's a sexy dude. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah,
He's got
okay.
some Kevin Garcia features.
Yes.
The beard, maybe. The mustache.
The
How
Pope.
old is
has
he?
the Pope. has
He
the
looks
same
like
Pope.
a baby.
He looks like he's 30. I don't know. He doesn't look old enough.
He is-
or
he
looks
is
too old to
30.
me.
He's like 30,
Yeah.
31.
Damn, I'm good at this.
Oh, man.
No, we need
Yeah,
like a Disney star who's ready to graduate and
Well, we
Ooh,
just
there we
need
go.
like a Paul Dano type who could really.
I mean, I love Paul Dano, but I thought we were going for like super pretty.
Well, let me ask, what about the detective?
Oh,
well,
we have a specific person for that.
Oh, I mean,
we
come
wrote
on.
that for Blue Beetle.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh,
yeah.
And I
That
was
would
like,
be-
Cholo
not
be
to
dope.
interrupt the conversation or to go off on a tangent, but I was really happy when he sent me the ref because one of my big pet peeves in comics, especially comics created by men, is that all the women in their comics are just so beautiful, and then the guys have like, a stick figure face. There's just nothing appealing about them. They're just like,
Just a body.
yeah, it's just like, or they're just so uber masculine that it feels like a roided out fest. And I just was like, oh, good, he's going to be pretty. I'm just thrilled for my own personal satisfaction.
I mean, you got an audience, man. The audience has to.
I mean,
it's speaking to
yeah.
you right there.
Yeah, I mean, he's also very young, and I like that. I like that he's not a grizzled guy. He's a very young protagonist as well.
I think he deserves like a role like this
Yeah,
to do something that's like out there, risky. So that I wrote it for him.
yeah, he needs to call
hope-
you.
We hope he goes to a comic shop here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, you just
Right,
I
maybe
mean-
we just write it on the cover. This is for you.
I mean, what we need a podcast that has covered like Blue Beetle before, especially one
I
that's
mean,
had
we
maybe
did.
the director on before.
Yeah.
Angel Manuel Soto was on the show. We talked. We had our time. I'll hit him up. But hey, man, you got to get this over to Cholo. See what he says.
Hey,
See what
not
I
you.
can do.
Let me just
Yeah,
slide
not
this
you.
PDF.
We don't want
with-
you on the movie.
I'm
We
not
want
wearing
your-
blue
You know what?
for no.
Okay.
I'm just saying for any
I get where
reason.
he's going. I get where he's going. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
No, and the thing is, it's like we like have to be realistic. Like
Mhm.
comics are really hard to get done in any other way. So we are very happy with what we have now. I mean, the fact that we're doing a 5-issue miniseries with the hopes of
The trade later.
being a Ricky Tales series where we follow him every decade.
That'd be
Until
dope. I was
I
like, oh
would
shit,
jump
that'd be
for that.
cool. Yeah,
I
that'd be
love
so
when you
cool.
can follow somebody through the years where there's like decades worth of history for a character that we can actually follow. I'm
Yeah.
down for that.
And if it does become a show or a movie, that actor can age.
Yeah, I mean, we
Just
wrote
keep
it
him
for
going,
his
man.
age now, so it's like literally perfect. You should call
Yeah.
us. You should call Henry.
Hey man, Cholo, call at Primos The Win the Book campaign out there. I know we're rebuilding after the hack, but I need you guys, the ones that listen to us, the silent ones, just sit there and give me a thumbs up or text me. You need to go out there, add them, and say, hey, check out this book. Give them Henry's Barajas on Instagram. Let them know that he's perfect for this book. But they're not going to know until you buy the book and read it and show them, right? Do that.
We are very grateful for anyone that is in a position in this very difficult economy to make any sacrifice to buy the book, let alone multiple copies. So, I mean, there's great covers by Katie Skelly, Ramon Villalobos, Marco Finnegan, and I think the all-father of comics noir, David Lapham. So
they're gorgeous covers, and I love the fact that I can pick and choose. But it gets so hard where I'm like, damn it, like, okay, I have to. Maybe I don't buy that next Batman because I need to get the other cover, the alternate cover, the C cover.
Batman,
you know what I mean?
He can take the hit.
Yeah, Batman is fine. Yeah. Batman's gonna be just fine.
There's more than one detective in the shadows,
Besides,
yeah, he's very much inspired by the Batman the Animated Series. And Sherlock Holmes, which I hope people pick up on that. If there's
I got a lot of that consulting detective vibe where he's not the cops. He's
literally on Baker Street, like in Chavez Ravine, where there was a real Baker Street. So theoretically,
Chavez Ravine, all the history, man. So I love the history, and you become a fan of history through what you consume, and this is going to open up doors for those that maybe didn't know. Like you said, Henry, right? Something struck it to you, and you're passing that on, and Rachel's helping, and like having that hand and that eye that differs from you, and having her perspective. Like, I dig it. Like, I really love the art. Like, it really stands out to me, and I'm like, shit, like this just feels right. And like you hit it, you knocked it out, Rachel, 100%.
Oh, thank you.
That
means a lot.
I read a lot of books. I consume a lot of comics, but there are things that you kind of read once and kind of tuck it away. That was fun. That was nice. That was cute. But there are ones that you read and you go like, "Fuck, man! Have you read this? Like, how you pass it around? People borrow it. I literally have to. I'm excited so I can have my kid read it. Because we'll share comics. He's old enough now where he starts sharing comics and different tastes. And I go, you gotta read this. And when I tell him, like, and this is the good thing. When your primo brings it up to you and go, hey, you gotta read this, it's good. So I definitely recommend this.
Don't show him issue 2.
Well, start with one.
I mean, why not? He's reading about a serial. He's reading up. What is it? Oh my God, what's the name of that book? Where is it?
It's my first rated R comic, and one of the main reasons why I reached out to Rachel is because she made a comic called Adult Romance that had suggestive scenes, sex scenes.
It's something more graphic than an Adrian Lyne movie, but since the 1980s, we have made sex illegal in media, so it's now banned online.
Yeah.
I feel like that comes cyclical. Every 20 years or so, they're like, wait a minute, sex happens. Block it.
Right? Scary.
But by the way, I love
he'll read whatever he wants to read. We're good, man. He needs to read it.
That's the father right there. I like that you mentioned the real Baker Street earlier, and we have Rachel's art and your writing and research from both of you. The city is a character, and I feel like that's a necessary part of crime noir, is that the city alive, and it feels like it would be in a different story in a different city. And here it is, LA's story with the Pachuco.
Yeah, he mentions Downey, he mentions the neighborhoods, like he mentions like all these things where you're like, if you're from LA, like, oh yeah, this is legit. Like this is even the visuals of it. I know obviously the visuals from the 40s is not what it is today, but I'm sure you did the research for that. But you can kind of understand that was farmland, that was neighborhoods, right? That was a whole different world than the LA we see today. So yeah, like I love the fact that it's been written in a way that someone that is a native would look at it and go, oh shit, this is legit. Like you're taking into account what the city is.
I've only actually been to LA a few times, so that's really great to hear. But,
Henry, fly her out more often. Can you make that happen? I mean, I'm sure.
I was going to say a lot of my favorite movies are set in LA, and then one of my favorite, I guess it's a series of essays, but one of my favorite books is Slow Days, Fast Company by Eve Babbitt. And a lot of it is like a love. It's a great book. It's a bunch of essays and short fiction from the 1970s. But it's kind of her love letter to LA, and she wrote it as like a fuck you to like the East Coast is like kind of looking down their nose, and especially Joan Didion's kind of like dismissiveness of like LA wasteland. Like Eve Babbitt was like, well, I actually love LA, and LA is really great. And one of the things I really like about her book, and what I like about movies that really work for me from LA, is that I don't need to have grown up there to kind of fall in love with it, because the writer or the movie is doing such a great job of showcasing what's so special about those places. So I was hoping we hit that with our series, or at least I was able to.
Yeah, and also big shout out to the library. I mean, a lot of the references I've sent to Rachel are based on the Tessa incredible. Anyone can go to lapl.org and go to their photo database, and I mean, it's hard unless you know what you're looking for.
Sure.
But there are incredible guides that I was able to send Rachel. Like, here is this basic, and a lot of them, because it's LA and a lot of these people are like cinematographers, the shots are very like well placed, so we were able to glean on that.
There's also
so well.
There's also, I just want to do a shout out, there's an Instagram account that was really invaluable for me, called Forgotten LA, or Forgotten Los Angeles, I believe is what it's called. But that account posts a ton of stuff in the 1940s, especially of stuff that's been torn down or doesn't live or doesn't exist anywhere. And I haven't,
those kind of accounts.
Yeah, so it's called Forgotten Los Angeles, and it's a godsend.
And they responded to you, right? They like.
I think so. I mean, I think they're busy because like their Facebook, there's like AI crap that like some fake accounts they've been having to deal with.
Yeah, I thought there was an Instagram.
We wouldn't know what that's like.
Yeah, damn internet, damn social media.
I know, and
it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, well, it sucks. Is like they provide such an invaluable resource. Like even if I'm not using their references directly, it helps me get a sense of like what that time period was like, and like what kind of cars were more prevalent, and what the light was like. I know it's such an invaluable resource, along with the libraries in LA. So I just wanted to give a shout out to it.
No, awesome. We'll put that here as well. We got a pretty good editor that's kind of on top of things, so he'll make sure he takes care of that. But rounding things out here at the end, I want to just kind of give you guys another moment to just kind of let the Primos know like why they need to pick up this book. I mean, I've already hyped it up because I'm a fan and I'm excited for it, because I already told you the art's great, the story's dope, it's historical, it's LA. I'm all about LA because I grew up there, and not only that, it's our culture on display. That's not damn near, you're not sensationalizing anything. We're taking into account what it is and how good our culture is and what makes it so awesome. So I'm really excited, and I want to give you guys a moment each to kind of just go through it and tell the Primos why they should pick up the book.
Well, Death to Pachuco is my love letter, as we've been talking. Love letter to noir, to the beauty of the historical importance that brown people played at that time, and black people as well. I mean, we do want to emphasize that black culture really influenced the world. I mean, there was a reason. The reason why Mexicans were in Pachuco suits, zoot suits, was because they wanted to be like black jazz players, and that's So this is like you always know people that are big World War II buffs and kind of make that their personality, and not to say that's Rachel.
No, it was me.
I mean, but it's also like, it's very speaking to a very specific demographic.
Yeah. The losers have kind of co-opted that identity. I know what you're talking about.
So like they like to talk about, like, I think it was like touched on in Succession, where he was like, well, what part of the history do you find interesting? But it was just like one of those things where like I really wanted to swing for the fence, and thankfully we have someone like Rachel who can tell a story and who is brave and is her sensibility in a way that I think a lot of people in her position wouldn't know how to, because Rachel has been such a good storyteller, and when now she's in a position to make a comic, she's taking chances a lot of people would never take, and go in directions that a lot of people wouldn't go. And it's been a very awesome experience to collaborate with somebody who can take chances, who has an idea of fashion, who has an idea of storytelling that is different from a lot of people. So you're getting history, you're getting noir, you're getting so much. It's a 25-page comic. Like normally comics are 20 to 22 pages. Number 2 will be 25, and then everything after that will be 20 pages. But yeah, we're really going to do things that I think that have not really been done before, in ways that have never been done before, using settings and characters that have never been done before. So it's really much a response to Luis Alvarez's Zoot Suit in the most respectful way possible.
Definitely, Rachel. What about you? What else that Henry hasn't already put out there? Can you tell people about this book and why it's something they can pick up?
Well, I guess I would say is if you're a fan of the graphic novel Persepolis, if you're a fan of the series Arab of the Future, if you loved Mizuki Shigeru's Shawa series,
Yeah.
Death to Pachuco is of all of those. It's the same where it weaves in a personal narrative with real events and I think just makes it all come to life in a way that more people should be aware of, but also not just because of that, but because it's just fascinating in of itself. For me, I had already known about the Zoot Suit Rise because I'm as we already said, World War II history nerd. And I read this really great book when I was in the midst of my World War II history fandom called The Good War by Studs Terkel. And they covered, it's an oral history about World War II and has a very critical lens of it. Not so much in we shouldn't have fought, but there's a lot of bad stuff that happened in the name of fighting Nazis. And one of the big ones was they talked at length as an oral history of people who suffered during the Zoot Suit riots. And then there was also a really good episode of Stuff You Missed in History Class, a podcast by iHeartRadio on the Zoot Suit riots. And one of the things that the hosts were stressed repeatedly was that this was not a riot because that would mean that two sides were fighting equally. This was a coordinated attack by the U.S. Navy to assault and harass and abuse Hispanic youth in Los Angeles. And I think that this Death to Pachuco does a really great job of showcasing what they were trying to get across in their series.
Perfect. Rachel, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I really want to, Henry's not wrong. Everything you've discussed today and kind of referencing your other work. I know Gil Thorpe, of course, and I'm like, damn, I gotta check out her shit. I gotta look into it. I gotta see what she's
banned,
about.
so I'll have to send you a PDF.
Hey, hit me up. We'll have our emails now.
Of course.
Definitely, we'd love to have you back on, talk about your stuff. Why not?
Sure,
Just come here and chat about it. Your work.
Yeah. Are you guys going to Create Expo?
Crearte, the one in Brownsville or the Valley?
Yeah.
Not this year, but I want to make it back. I went years ago. It's where I met artists that I was working with on Chispa, actually, because I just
cool.
I love going down there.
Hector, I think, is going. Bowles is going. They're all down. They're gonna go down there. I'm not gonna go to that one, but we're gonna go to Meximericon. I know that for sure. That's in November here in Austin,
cool.
And we're
1st.
gonna do that one. So that'll be fun.
We'll be at Thought Bubble,
and New York Comic Con.
And New
York Comic Con. So go check them out, Primos. If you're at New York Comic Con, don't start, Kevin. Don't start. You're always complaining that he doesn't get invited to conventions.
Well, we weren't invited.
I've never been to New York Comic Con. I'm like, I need to go one of these.
Well, now's a great time to go.
Right?
We are in Artist Alley. We applied. We got in.
There you go. New York Comic Con, Thought Bubble. We got to make sure we go out there and greet the Primos, Henry and Rachel, of course. And, I want to just thank everybody that's watching. And, of course, go support the book. Look, nowadays, you can pre-order it on your phone. I have an app from my local comic book shop. You can call them on the phone and say, hey, are you guys going to carry this book? Yeah, okay, put my name on it. And they will do it for you. It's that simple. Spend the $6. You're going to enjoy it. It's a blast.
It's actually $3.99. It's
what?
Cheaper, yeah.
No way. Well, because I have the other variant cover. Maybe that's why. Maybe they're upcharging me.
If you got one of the most expensive one is the foil. It's a spot foil. It's gonna be.
Yeah, I think it's a foil one. Actually, I'm not even kidding you. I'm looking at my little thing right here, my comic book deal. Because tomorrow is new comic book day. As I said, we're recording this, so they're already hitting me up for my new books. And so, yeah, I think I have that one. I think it's like $7 or $8, $7.99, $6.99.
Well, you're getting a good deal because that book is going to be very expensive. Well, the most expensive one will be the Barajas variant that Kevin is getting through Kickstarter. So there's only copies of that, and we'll have that hopefully if we get the comps in
all the good stuff.
New York Comic Con. But I will be shipping while we're not traveling.
No, yeah, it's that one there. I have the spot foil, so I guess
there you go. So you have the more expensive one. Thank you, but
There you go.
Yeah.
They have to order. They have to order 50 copies to get that one.
Wow.
Hey, cool. So I'm making them order more copies for the store. There you
So
go.
everyone
Primos.
get a
I was gonna say,
spot
every
foil.
store needs to get them. That's why so every store can have them.
Yeah.
There you go. Primos, go order the spot foil. It's $6.99. It's not that crazy, okay, compared to some of these books nowadays.
It will be more. Shops usually order them, and they will jack the price up to $20.
Pre-order. You'll be safe on that one. They have to honor it. But Primos, definitely go support the book. I want to thank Henry, of course. Henry, where can people find you? What's your socials?
They can find me at their local comic shop on October 8th when Detective Pachuco comes out.
That's the
There
place
you go.
they need to find you the best.
They need to find them at the comic shop.
Yeah.
You should put a stamp cutout that comes with when they buy 50. It's just like Henry Barajas that
Henry.
comes with it.
Yeah,
It's
just
like,
a big
pick up
hole
my
in the
book.
mouth. Yeah.
There you go. Like that. Not the mouth. Not the mouth, Henry.
You want a hole somewhere else?
Kevin Garcia. Always with those deep ones. Rachel, where can people find you? Where can people find your work?
What Henry said. Otherwise, my Instagram is ohhhaeee with ohhhaeee, and I gotta change it. I made it when I was 23, and I was like, I'm gonna keep it
So
that
stick
way,
with
but
you.
now it's starting to be embarrassing having to say this out loud. So.
Like, it's hey.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like again,
There
like
you go.
2010, and it's starting to show
Oh, yeah.
my age.
No, but of course it changes.
Hey,
I do-
it's
I do-
fine.
Now we have
I do
to
want to point out we
say
can
it
still
out
follow you
loud.
guys on Gilthorpe. And if your local newspaper is
yeah.
not carrying
Yeah.
Gilthorpe,
Go
you need
Comics.
to
It's
contact your
free to
local
read.
newspaper and tell them to carry Gilthorpe.
Actually,
Carry
yeah,
Gilthorpe.
do that. That would mean the world. Aside from
It
buying
really would.
Pachuco.
I mean, as somebody who used to work in newspapers, that means a lot. When somebody
Yeah.
says, "Look, I read this. I want to read that here."
Yeah.
Yeah, especially
There
for
you go, Primo.
Texas, because it's a sports comic, and we're about to hit football season,
Yes.
which is basically the religion of Texas.
Yeah, it really is.
So
It really is.
I don't know why Dallas Morning News is sleeping on their destiny to carry Gilthorpe.
Everybody at Dallas Morning News
Yeah,
and let them know they take care
call
of
me,
Gilthorpe.
or call
Let's
our
make it
editor.
happen, everybody.
Call
Mr.
Tribune
Kevin Garcia,
Content Agency.
Yeah,
there
call
you go.
Tribune
Do you have any
Content.
events coming up that the Primos need to know about, Kevin?
Me right now, it's just Mex Americana. I had one that was going to be coming up in Seguin, Texas, but that got moved to the spring, so that happens. So that's the
Okay.
big one I've got going on right now.
And for us again, we'll be at Mex American and Primos. Of course, follow Mr. Kevin Garcia _com and follow the show here at My Primos Productions.
Mm-hmm.
Check us out for more than just our podcast here. We're doing a lot more in TCG gaming. Henry, one day we can get you playing some Magic again. You know, when it's downtime, or talking about some good
Have you seen
music.
that? Have you seen that video of that guy who loses and then throws the table? That's me.
Yeah.
So you don't want me.
See, then all the more reason to have you on because
We need
it'll
to
be
have you
animated,
on.
and we can be like,
There you
"That's
go,
it.
man.
We're going to see Henry fight."
You know what? We're also, for those that are listening and asking, I did get some requests where we do have a D&D campaign that's ongoing. By the point of time of this being recorded, our new adventure has begun on the
latest
podcast.
adventure, yes.
The latest adventure would have been underway. So just keep an eye out for that. We have a lot more to do with that. Maybe Henry can join us for a game. It'd be fun as a guest on the.
Yeah. Have you seen
on the
that
campaign.
video of the guy who loses and throws the table?
That's you too?
Yeah.
Even better. Makes for great content, everybody.
Character
I won't-
dies. So we can-
That's
gonna
it,
say,
man.
it's-
Just kill your character.
Henry, do you
Kill
do
the
that with
character.
chessboards too?
Yes.
So?
There's
Yes.
that one
bet-
video of that guy in the park that like attacks a guy because he lost some chess.
I did that.
Oh,
my
no.
dad. That happened with me and my dad. I beat him at chess, and he threw the chessboard.
I can't.
attacked you. I was like,
Yeah,
whoa.
we're definitely playing.
Yeah, after
October.
Pachuco's wrapped.
There you
Otherwise,
go,
I'll
guys.
get
After, so that we can still
I
work
get
together?
super competitive, so no, I cannot
Okay.
play right now.
Well, we'll see who beats who. And Primos, remember, follow us. Check out myprimospodcast.com and of course My Primos Productions. And remember, Primos, no matter where you're from, we're all Primos. Take care. Adios.
We out.
Thank you for watching My Primos Podcast. And for those audio listeners, thank you so much for listening. My Primos Podcast is brought to you by My Primos Productions and Chikume. This week's hosts were Primo Fredie and Kevin Garcia.
Como una rosa entre espinas salta
This week's guests were Henry Barajas and Rachel Merrill. Check out Death to Pachuco, October 8th. Call your local comic shop and request the book. Music is provided by Sin Color. Follow them at Sin Color Music. Thank you for everybody that supported the show and, of course, my Primos Productions in general. I want to thank you for all the attention you've given us and support. Keep an eye out and visit myprimospodcast.com. And, of course, follow us on socials at My Primos Productions. As always, Primos, check in on each other, look into each other, and no matter where you're from, we're all Primos. Adios.